And hello, everybody. This is Denise Guru again, your Ascension Oracle. Fixing the microphone here. um, well, today is going to be an interesting chat because it's all about bringing in the fifth and using our imagination. There's so many of us who are they have no idea what the fifth dimension would look like. And I've done a video previous to this about, communicating with Gaia and, her telling me what it will look like after all the air is cleared and things are settled and things are in place. And we talk a lot about our inner power and the power that we have and our increasing powers and how we access these powers. And the best way that you can access these abilities that are coming in is using your imagination. And that's why reading, specifically fantasy and sci-fi, that's why reading those genres are so important when it comes to using your imagination, because it's causing you to build the world for you. It's causing you to envision what the worlds look like and what the characters look like, and instead of just sitting and watching the TV and let it be put out in front of you. And so using our imagination is really, really important when it comes to any kind of magic work, any kind of connecting to our clairs, all of our clairs. How do we, it's like when you do a spell, if you do any kind of spell work or intention work, it's good first to follow along with other spells or other intentions or other meditations that other people have done until you feel like you can do it yourself. So that helps on the journey, but it's all set in intention. It's all the energy that you're putting forth by your thoughts and how clearly you can envision, and the words, the spoken words, because all of that becomes energy. And so a lot of work that I do, because that I write fantasy, sci-fi, and all that, which, if you're Lord of the Rings fanatic like I am, J.R.R. Tolkien, who wrote the Lord of the Rings, he said that he was basically remembering the forgotten past. And so it's like they say, there's nothing that's ever been thought of before. There's no new thoughts, there's no new things to create, because it's already there. It's just us bringing it to the forefront. Humanity, that's what they do. They think up something, they think it up long enough, they create it in their mind, and then there it is in front of you. We've manifested it, we've made it. And so it's the same thing. But it's time for us now to stop playing the little child games. And I don't mean using, being playful and more explorative. It's like, it's time to get to work now. It's time to take this serious. It is time to become who we think we are, instead of just talking it. And so the best thing you can do as far as increasing the strength of your abilities is first and foremost to believe that you can do it, because we've been suppressed. They are so afraid of us, and they have spent centuries and centuries and centuries, thousands of years suppressing what they know is already inside of us. And they've done a damn good job, haven't they? But you know what they say about the dark and their intentions? The universal law says if you're going to do something dark, you have to tell them about it first. And so we see a lot of this in movies. We read a lot of it in books, and we see it, the stupid signs and the advertising they put up. And but it's like watching those DC comic movies, and there's always these people that have these special abilities, and they're always fighting the dark. And it's kind of like telling us, hey, you guys, stop just watching these movies, start using your imagination of increasing your own abilities and your own powers. And because it's all in here, right? It's all in our heart, it's all in our brain, it's all in our mind, it's all in our imagination. So we are limited by our lack of imagination. And so to give you some examples, the more you use your imagination, or the more you practice these abilities, the more they start creeping in your lucid dreams, creeping in synchronicities, things just happening, and people starting to come to you that are helping you to increase what you've been working on. And like lucid dreaming, I work a lot with working with magic and healing and all of that earth-based stuff, working with potions, working with essential oils and herbs and crystals and rocks, and using them to manifest something that I want and something that I desire. And it does it. And then feeling the power, feeling your power, believing that you have power. We have the power, you guys. It's time to use our power. So many of us are walking around when we're saying, well, I'm a starseed, and they're done. That's where they end. Like I said, you're limited. You're limiting yourself by saying, well, I'm a starseed and that's it. And I don't have to do anything else. And so a few of my dreams, my lucid dreams, have always been taking on the dark. And a lot of us talk about that, it's like, oh, I know I do astral traveling when I'm sleeping. I'm not just sleeping, I'm doing things. I feel like I'm doing my work when I'm sleeping. Well, then the more you do that, and the more you concentrate on that, the more it shows up in your dreams as lucid dreams. You actually know that you're dreaming, but you know that it's more than a dream. It's really happening. And one of them was, I was doing a whole lot of work, and in my dreams, they were trying to stop me from doing my work, and they had sent a few bad guys after me. And, I got really good at using my sword. I use my sword in my meditations. If I feel like there is dark around me, there's a part of me that it's like my higher self that can take form and can use the sword, and I just watch myself do battle with the sword. And it's like watching a movie, and it's amazing. It's fascinating what you can do in your mind once you develop it. And so in this dream, two of these bad guys were coming at me, dark entities, and they wanted to get me. And I could climb tall buildings, I could fly off of roofs, and I wasn't afraid, but it was like I was toying with them. I was having so much fun because I was not afraid. And it's kind of like when you watch one of those shows that are on TV now, like Paranormal Caught on Camera and stuff. And you see the clips where these people are filming like ghosts and things, and the doors rattling, and there's really nobody behind. Well, I can feel myself, I can feel the adrenaline pumping as I'm watching this, because for me, I wouldn't run. For me, I would go and I would take it head on. I've always been a mama bear, always. My kids have seen me in action plenty of times, and I've never been afraid. But because I work you know, in beyond the physical realm. You know, I work in the higher realms, and I do a lot of imagination work, um, just to increase my powers. And when you work that way and you increase your powers, that fear goes away. It's like those movies that you watch, you know, where the reluctant hero, the reluctant hero's like, it just takes him forever to finally realize that he can beat the dark just by going, I'm not afraid of you. You can't touch me because you don't have the power to touch me because I'm more than physical. And then all of a sudden that big scary dark thing is like fizzles to nothing. And so it's kind of like we have to come to that realization now. We really have to really increase our power and get that adrenaline pumping. And if, you know, when you, and heart work, I preach about heart work all the time. When you do your heart work, you're increasing your resilience, and you're developing and increasing your intuition further. And so what they found, what Heart Math Institute found, is when you do your heart work, you do the techniques, your intuition increases. And so when you're sitting there and you're watching a scary movie, and the people next to you, every time something bad happens, the people next to you are like, oh my God, oh, and you just sit there because it's like you intuitively knew this was coming before your eyes even saw it. And they've already done a study on that with the computers. You know, and I've talked about this before, where they set the people up in front of the computers and they flash pictures, some very pretty pictures and some very, very not nice, icky pictures. And when they were hooked up to the monitors, they found that the heart reacted to these pictures before the picture was even flashed on the screen. The heart knew that if it was going to be a beautiful picture, or if it was going to be a horrible picture. And so, you know, those stupid videos that would go around, you know, somebody sends you a video and it was this, you know, beautiful scene, and all of a sudden, something scary, you know, comes up on the screen, and everybody, you see the people flying back in their chair. Well, because I've been doing this kind of work forever. I just sit there and it's like, what? Is this the best you have? So you guys, you know, it's time for the hard ass to come out. And it's time for us to just say, hey, we're done and over this. And it's time for us to manifest this in the higher realms, the other realms, not just the 3D, and doing our work, increasing our abilities. And I told you, if those of you who follow me know that my youngest daughter has been going through cervical cancer. And, you know, we've been doing this kind of work. She does everything alternative. She's had to fight the hospitals. They want her to do chemo and all that crap, that bullshit stuff. And she refuses to do it. She just wants information. And so, because we're so connected, I've been doing a lot of work on working with Gaia and taking her disease. And because she, of course, wants to fight this, and we know that a lot of this is, you know, is the dark stuff intervening and, you know, causing issues. I've already gotten permission to help. And so what I would do is, using my imagination, is go in there and work with Gaia, and I actually take in her disease, take in her illness. But what I was doing is envisioning taking it in and then releasing it, taking it in. It's like when I do Reiki, you know, you're just a vessel. So the same thing, it's like the reverse. I'm the vessel, but I'm pulling. It's like doing Kuan Yin work. There is a certain thing you can do at Kuan Yin where you can ask her to, you know, you're pulling out, you use your magic fingers, your higher dimension fingers, and you're going in and you're pulling out these diseases. And so I was doing that pulling out her cancer and then sending it down to Gaia and having her transmute it. And she's always doing that with us anyways. She's always dealing with our negativity, and you know, she's the positive and the negative ion exchange, you know, but she's always absorbing a lot of the negativity that we have in us. You know, we walk on her barefoot and it's going in, so she has to cleanse all the time. And that's why some of this weather, strange weather we see is her cleansing. You know, we have a lot of strong winds, and we know wind is cleansing. So I've been doing this, and I feel just powerful, you know, that goddess, you know, we're all gods and goddesses, that power that's within us. And so I'm doing my goddess work, pulling this out, and I have the belief that I can do this. And so a couple nights after doing this work, I have this lucid dream, and we're at this conference. It's like, you know, it's like a spiritual type conference, and there's all these spiritual people there. And all of a sudden I feel this thing wanting to come up out of my throat, crawling up my throat. And I wasn't afraid at all. I wasn't scared. It's not like an alien was going to pop out of me. Because remember, we're lucid dreaming. We have control of this dream. You know, we have somewhat control of this dream. And so I'm letting this happen, and I feel calm, and, you know, it's like something natural that needs to happen. And so it comes up, and it's like, the only way I can describe it is like raw bread dough, you know, just stretchy raw bread dough or pizza dough. And so it comes out, and I excuse myself from the conference, and my husband and somebody else, I don't remember who was, we walk out, and I'm pulling this out and pulling this out, and I'm not afraid. But it was like caught at the end. It was like I couldn't quite get it to come, and it was like, okay, so is maybe there's an attachment here or something. And so I just relaxed and said, no, there's no attachment. It's just that whatever this is not wanting to die. You know, I'm pulling this living thing out. And, you know, disease has energy. Disease has a living energy to it. It's an entity. So I finally yanked, and it came out, and it did make my throat sore because it was holding on the end so strongly, but it did make my throat sore. And so I pulled it out, and then we looked at it, and it started to transform. And it didn't look like bread dough. It started to like a hard pink, almost like a big tumor. It was like it just transformed into a huge tumor. And that's what my daughter's been dealing with is you know, tumors, cervical cancer tumors. And we're looking at this tumor, and then you could see in the tumor, you could see the parasites in the tumor. And so I just took it and I put it down, and I just let Gaia take it in and transmute it. And the coolest part about that is my dad has been with us through this whole ordeal, and my dad died last August. And my daughter, she's feeling him too, and he's been around us, just tough old gypsy guy, you know. And he comes to me a lot in my dreams. And after I did that, he came in my dream, and he came up to me, and he just grabbed me, and he hugged me, and he hugged me, and he hugged me, and hugged me, and hugged me, and he just didn't want to let me go. And he would do that when we were kids. You know, he just loved us so much. He would just squeeze us so hard. You know, I love you. And he squeezed us so hard. And so he did that, and it was kind of like a sign. You know, I woke up from that dream, and it took me a few minutes to realize what that was all about and connect the dots. And my throat was sore. You know, my throat was really sore, and I have a salt lamp, one of those Himalayan salt lamps on my end table, and I always leave that on, and that one it burnt out. It was out. And so that was another sign that my dad was there. But it was like, I realized what was happening. The work that I had been doing, I manifested it. And my dad came in and he was just so happy that because he's on the other side, you know, he sees this from the other side. And he was just so happy that what I did, and he was so proud of me. And so you guys, I mean, this is so important now to really use your intuition, use your gut, use your imagination. Whatever you get is right. It's all about going in. It's not about listening to other people, because right now there's so much infiltration going on, and there's so many people whose channels are just exploding overnight. And I listen to them and you know, I don't resonate with this. And I know that because this spiritual war is going on and they are losing, they are doing more and more and more and more work, kind of like that disease that I was trying to, they're doing everything they possibly can to hang on and to stop this, even though they know they're defeated. So they're pulling out all the stops. So there's people that are getting infiltrated, and they start out and they're saying really good things, and then before you know it, they start coming up with these things that are like, what? And then when you hear the comments, more people are arguing because, oh no, this is right, no, this is wrong, no, this is right, you're wrong, and you don't know what you're talking about, and all this religious bullshit that's coming up. I mean, we know in the fifth dimension there will be no religion. We don't need religion. Yes, we need source, but we don't need religion. And so these certain religion begins with a C. They're really, it's like everybody is on an attack, you know, and if you don't agree with some of what is said and you voice your opinion, they are ready to attack because they know they're in the end times. They are in the end times. And it's all about finding the source within ourselves, the religion within ourselves. I hate that word religion. And I know somebody, I think it was Mark Passio, that broke that word down, and I don't remember what it was. Information overload once again. But now it's more important than ever to really discern what you're listening to. And if you have a feeling that, oh, there's a red flag here, really explore that and wonder why you feel that way. But it's so much distraction right now. A lot of it is just distraction. And it's none of this 5D stuff. It's none of this. It doesn't help us raise our vibration. It's doing the opposite. It's bringing us back down into this 3D fight. And so many of us don't need to do that anymore. And so that's why it's so important now for us to put all that away. Yeah, it's okay to go listen once in a while. But like I said before, I said, a lot of the older people that we used to listen to, we won't hear them anymore. And all of a sudden these new people are going to appear. And a lot of us are going to be going, I don't know, you know, they got huge subscriptions, but I just don't know. And so go with that, you know, go with your intuition. It's time for you to do your own work. It's time for you to get your own information. It's time for you to use your imagination and get your butt out there and start manifesting the fifth dimension. It's already there. We just have to get over this last hurdle of major distraction to get there. So we need to start using our imagination to imagine what it is we really want and how we're going to live. I mean, community, harmony, beauty. I mean, go out there and look at Gaia, even if you live in the city, and go, oh, Gaia, you're so beautiful. You're so gorgeous. I love you. I'm sending you appreciation and gratitude for this journey that we're on. And I can't wait for you to be restored to your original beauty, because remember, we've been dealing with this terraforming, these other entities that have been terraforming her and tearing her down and changing her to what they want. You know, they want to take her over. We have the power to stop that. We have the power to help her. And for those people who say, Gaia can take care of herself, that's not right. There is that symbiotic connection between her and us, because we're here on her. We live on her. Everything we get comes from her. And so it's time for us to reconnect with her, and time for us to have these inner discussions with her, and say, hey, you know, I'd really like, this is what I would really like, and this is what I would really like, and this is not what I don't want. And I still hear these religion people saying, oh, you're sinning because, you know, God gave us the animals to eat and you're going against God's law. Well, I'm sorry, that's a bunch of fucking bullshit. Excuse my French. No, excuse my Italian. My husband's Italian. That's his favorite word. It is. Sorry. It's a bunch of fucking bullshit. Because in the 5D, if they would use their imagination beyond the Bible, they would start envisioning what the 5D is all about. And it's nothing about what we're into right now. But because they're so programmed by the Bible, they can't go beyond that. Oh, they're still stuck in that matrix. And I've been seeing this over and over again. And these people, they know they're hanging on by their nails. You know, hang 10, the cat hanging from the branch. And they deep down inside, they know this is going away. And it's time to connect with the gods and goddesses that we are within us, and stop all this other outside controlling programming bullshit. And that's what causes our limitations, because if it's not in the Bible, it's not true, and it's never going to happen. The fifth dimension, we won't need it. We won't need it. We will have the natural law. We will already be living and embodying the natural law, the true law that Source would like us to live, and that the true law that we've been telling Source we want. And so that's just my rant for today. And it's about getting there and doing the work, people. It's about envisioning. It's about talking, having a conversation back and forth with Gaia and Source, and the goddess and the God inside of you, and starting to really manifest what it is you want, instead of being distracted and watching what everybody's telling us that we're gonna get. It's not what we're gonna get. And so, you know, clear out of all that distraction, because it's like white noise. It's that really bad white noise. And that white noise, that distracting, like street sound noise that keeps you from going within. That's all that is. So we have to clear that out, and we have to go within. And it's time for us to be the superhero and claim the powers that each and every one of us has within us, and do the work. So that's all I got to say for you today, guys. So see you in the 6th dimension, because it's never ending, isn't it? All right, talk to you later.